Love to watch movies. One of our favorite things to do is watch movies with our kids. And this week I got to watch a movie that has some undercurrents of faith in it. And I'm always suspicious about some of those movies because I'm like, this isn't going to be very good. But Christians need to have high quality, I think, sometimes. Anyway, we watched a movie called On a Wing and a Prayer. And it is set in Easter Sunday, 2009, in this family, the White family, the dad's name is Doug, is in a King Air 200 airplane flying back to Louisiana after Doug's brother's funeral. And within 10 minutes of the flight, the pilot dies of a heart attack. And the rest of the movie is about all of these flight control experts and a flight instructor like working together in this huge, enormous team coming together to make sure that these four people get back on the ground safe. And I just could not help but think about that divine spark, right? That God-ordained thing in us to love well. Like when people are in crisis, to see what really matters and to love well. When I watch those people rally for the good of four people. And quite honestly, it took me back to you. It took me back to who we are and our mission together as a family. I'm going to throw that up on the screen, and I want to invite you to engage in that with us. Our mission is walking with disconnected people in transforming community as we become like Jesus. It is a mission of loving people well. And as we start today, I want to invite you to join me in that and put it on your lips. If you would stand with me, please. I will read and you will echo. We are a family who is walking with disconnected people, in transforming community as we become like Jesus. One more time, say it like you believe it. We are walking with disconnected people, in transforming community as we become like Jesus. Have a seat. 20 summers ago, Journey was planted. Actually, a launch team was started. We weren't planted until January, and we'll celebrate that when we come to January. But 20 summers ago, about 14 adults gathered in a living room and began praying for people who were disconnected from God. That prayer was a prayer to break down barriers between God and people, both religiously and culturally. And over the last 20 years, God has been faithful to this. He has brought us to a place of constantly working to bring people into and back home to the Father and our Creator. He has been faithful to help us be a people who are constantly growing and changing. Never perfect. We're a beautiful mess. We acknowledge that. But we say yes to Jesus and that he's not yet done with us. So that we become a people that look like him, that not only learn to be with him, but to learn to think like him and therefore learn to act like him, that we become little Christs in this world. For the last couple of months or more, we've been in this series called Acts, Our Story. And this vision is what we're watching get played out in Acts. You remember the Acts theme verse, like the mission statement of Acts that like sets the tone for everything else that happens. Take a look. Acts chapter 1, verse 8. Jesus turns and he says, "You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you." Let me pause there and just remind you, like the work that we do is God's stuff. It's God's work. It's his presence enabling us to go about his stuff. And what does he want us to do? To be his witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. This is who we are at Journey, and this is who the people of God were called to be from the very beginning. When Jesus says that you will be my witnesses, you will represent me in the way of the cross and the life and the freedom that it offers to Jerusalem, what he's doing is he's talking about both the location and the people. He's talking about the people of God at the city of God. And when we begin to apply that to ourselves, we target and we look at our own Jerusalem. We look at people who know God, but who quite literally might need to be introduced to him as the Lord and King of all. When we talk about Judea and Samaria, we're talking about the larger region of the people of God that largely included when you get into Galilee, like the blue-collar workers, like it's not the religious elite, it's just the normal people. But then you get into Samaria, and this is not the people of God. They have ties to it, but they worship what they don't know. They're not fully Israel. And we define people as Samaritans who, well, they're just disconnected from God. They may know of God, but they don't know him. And we apply Judea and Samaria to us, and we look at people who are that in our culture. People right in our midst, our neighbors, and even extended out that know of our God, that know some facts and some details maybe of our Lord and King Jesus, but they just don't know yet. And then we look at the ends of the earth. For Jesus in this conversation, the ends of the earth really was the extended Roman Empire. It was very clearly not Israel. It was people who may not have ever heard the name of the one creator, Yahweh God. It's people whose lives lived so drastically different than those who follow him. And Jesus turns and calls his followers to go after them too. And for us, it is absolutely walking into a world all around us and extended with people who don't think or live like we do, who are hurting and broken and honestly, often willingly hurt others. And we're called to call them home too. today, I'm reviewing this with you because today is a beautiful day for us. Today is a day where we are throwing a flag in the ground, and we are claiming that Acts is our story. That the things that the first church was doing are the things that we not only are called to do, but we are committed to do. And we are taking a huge, enormous, beautiful step forward in fulfilling those things today. And I'm going to do it through our vision, and I'm going to do it kind of backwards. I'm going to start at the ends of the earth and then come in close. And I want to paint a picture for you of what's happening next in our vision and where God's taking us. So we'll start with, we use to define this vision of walking with disconnected people in transforming community as we become like Jesus. We use 3 words to help us frame that. We call it encounter, engage, extend. I'm going to start with extend. Today we are extending this vision to the ends of the earth. Specifically, by going all in with our church planting partner, Nexus. Since Journey was about 2 years old, we've been partnered with Nexus, and during that time, we have had some role of planting almost 70 churches across the nation in like 40 different states. And the way that we've partnered in that is we've tithed, and so some of our money has gone to administrative support so that they can do their work. But during that time, we have directly partnered to plant that has cost us more money and even people. We have directly partnered to plant 6 of those churches. And I want to tell you that hundreds of people, men, women, and children, have come home to our God because you said yes. Today we are multiplying that partnership. We're going all in our work together as a family. And one of the ways that we're doing that is because I'm accepting an associate director role over Texas with Nexus. Before I go any further, let me just clarify. I am still your lead pastor. I ain't going anywhere. Kristen and I have been part of this beautiful family for 15 years. We can't wait for the next 15 years of work with you. But it's time to go all in. And what this is going to do is it's going to invite me with you to partner in our immediate region, to lock arms with more and more churches that will plant churches right here in Texas, to find planters and for us to engage. And it will open opportunities for us as a church family. I want to tell you, I need to hurry up so that we can do some other things, but I want to tell you, I've got some dreams for us with this. And I want to dream about a church planting team within this church. That will engage with these planters, that will know them and their kids by name, that will rally workforces and send them to them from us, where Journey functions as a hub of multiplying the kingdom in our region. We can talk more about that. I need to move on because we're not done. We're not just going all in on extending this mission to the ends of the earth. We're going all in to engage the mission in the lives of our Journey family as well. When we talk about engaging, we talk about engaging, transforming community, living in life together, and growing in the practices of Jesus. Like working toward pursuing Him and each other at the same time. And today we are going all in on making disciples in our own midst. The way we're doing that is we are inviting Adam Beckman to become our teaching and discipleship pastor. Oh, I'm a hot mess. So Adam has been our youth pastor for 9 years. And his gifting and teaching over that time just become obvious. He is good for us. And Adam is going to go all in. He's going to double down on helping us learn as a family to be with Jesus, to live with Him, and to grow up in His ways, to learn to think like Him, and to learn to become people who act like Him. We're going to do that through some increased opportunities with Him on Sunday morning, but also some special opportunities by building up Journey U, as well as multiple other avenues of discipleship. There's a lot of things cooking. But we're not done with that. Because we are also going all in and helping people encounter both Jesus and Jesus followers right here in our city. And Journey, there is nothing more powerful for us in our local city than to invest in students and their families. Students who are in a life stage of asking critical questions about not only who they are, but what God's up to. We believe if you get a student, you'll get their family. And we are going all in and investing in China Spring and Bosqueville and the surrounding areas by prioritizing our youth ministry. Now, when we were thinking about hiring our next youth pastor, we were thinking about 3 things. We needed to find someone who will just by default live out our vision, like who gets it. We need to find somebody who's been trained and equipped to go do this. And we need to find somebody who has a track record of already doing it. It's proven. I want to tell you that today we believe that God's addressed those things. And I want to announce that we have hired Brady Collard as our I should have practiced this. Now, there's a lot to talk about that, as well as all the rest of this stuff. And so in order to help us with this, I've invited some men to come up on stage. Dodd David Moore is one of our shepherds. I'm going to invite him, Adam Beckman, our new teaching and discipleship pastor, and Jeff Bradburn, who is our staff pastor, but Jeff serves on our board and is our liaison between our board and our staff. Y'all give them a hand. I promise, I don't cry at movies. But I cry up here. Oh my gosh.
Adam needs some Kleenex.
I think I'm good. I'll be good. Maybe that'll come in time as I'm more, on stage more and it's contagious.
So, like, we're going to talk about the whole Brady thing, which is, it's a thing for me. But let's pull back a little bit and talk big picture for a second. I want to start with you. Now, David, as a shepherd and a long time just family member here at Journey, how do you hear these things? What happens in your heart? What causes your heart rate to rise a little bit with joy and maybe even anxiety over some things? Like, what's happening with you?
Well, I've had more time to digest it. So, we've talked, and I've prepped for this question, and I'm still not sure how to answer it. That's just, I think that it took me about a week to really sit with it and be like, wow, and then I was sitting in a prayer time, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever had a prayer time like this, where God just starts revealing things to you, and you can't even put it into words. Like, there's so many facets to what God has done here. It's hard to put into words, and I've got maybe an analogy that I'll get to, but it was kind of also confirming for me, because in the last 6 or 7 years, I've been in the back. I got an opportunity to be on the AV team a long time ago, and I've been in the back just kind of watching everything unfold, and we've had some tough years here, ups and downs, but the whole time, even in the last year or two, it's like, hey, I know times are tough, but I just feel like God's working somehow. Some of the stuff that He revealed for a reason. He's doing something. He's getting us prepared for something. And then when Landon, presented this to us, I was like, oh, there we are. See, because it's like I kind of felt a peace about it. Hey, don't worry, something's coming. Don't worry. It wasn't like I had this future thing, but I just was like, okay. And then now it's here, and I'm like, okay. But now I'm like, oh, it's like, so imagine, I guess the analogy is, I've been on mission trips several times. Actually, I haven't been since COVID. So it just kind of felt like I haven't really felt that calling, like it's time to go again. But how a mission trip starts is someone has a dream, like God gives them a vision, a calling to go serve somewhere. And so he starts praying about it, or she starts praying about it, and God starts revealing and putting people in their path, and the resources and the prayers. Some people are going to be prayer warriors for that trip. Some people are going to be just support staff and help prep for it. And there's going to be people who go. And there's a leader usually that's in charge of all that. And Landon has been given this opportunity. Landon didn't apply for this.
Yeah.
Landon didn't. This is not like something This was something that Nexus saw in Landon, and they approached him. And we are a part of that now just because Landon lives here. Nexus has been an organization for probably longer than...
Since 2005.
Yeah, maybe just barely longer than Journey's even been a church. They're already there. Their mission's already happening. We are getting to go along with it. That's how mission trips work. God will have the mission happen whether we go or not. We get to be a part of it. And that's what's happened here. And that's what I'm excited about. So start thinking about all these opportunities. If you've ever dreamed about moving somewhere and being part of a church plant,
let's do it.
You're going to have a guy with a pulse on the entire state of Texas in our walls. We're going to have opportunities to serve those churches because he knows what they need. It's just like a direct line to this mission field that you guys kind of maybe knew about, but now we're going to be living it. And I don't know how else to say it except that this is exciting. This is great. But I am a little nervous about it.
The language that keeps coming to my mind, or the two words that keep coming to me is, I am exhilarated and terrified at the same time. Right? And but that's a really beautiful place to be in God's hand. Adam, Jeff, let's do it. Like, how are you responding to this? What do you dream about for us in our work together?
I mean, first, I'm so excited for you. It's been a joy to work with you and continue to work with you because you're not going anywhere. So that's great. And I guess for my role in this, every August I take the first full week of August off because youth for the summer's done. We haven't gotten ready for the fall yet. And during that week, I relax, but I also try to spend some time in prayer. And this past August was the first time where I asked him, like I do every year, is this where you still want me? Do you still want me to stay here and serve here as the youth pastor? And for the first time, I didn't receive an answer, and I didn't feel peace about that. And so as I talked with people and prayed and brought people in, it became obvious that the next thing wasn't a different people or a different place. It was just a different position. And I think God was calling me into something more. And I think one thing to address is it can come off we're announcing that we're having staff transitions and people on staff are being moved and going into a new chapter. But I want to lift our eyes up a little bit. And the foundation of what we do is we are called by God. Yeah. You would not be here over the past 4 years if you were not called. Being called by God keeps you in the game, both in good times and bad times. And what God is doing is beautiful to think about how he's calling you. And when I've been wrestling with the Lord about what's next, to see how he's calling me into something new, and that actually aligns with you. Right. And that we get to partner together. And then when we explored youth pastors, to think about how God has been working on Brady and what Brady's been wrestling with and wanting and praying for, and to think about how all three of us alone were seeking the Lord and his calling and his blessing. And as we started to talk and share how it all was lining up, and it's like we get to have our cake and eat it too. Right. And so it feels nice that it's not just you doing your thing. I mean, it's like all of us are saying yes to this call. What I'm dreaming about, I've resisted for a long time, but I'm excited to step in to teach more. I'm excited for that, and y'all have been so gracious to, man, I don't want to hear the first few sermons I did, but y'all have been faithful.
We burned them.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that. But I'm really excited for the discipleship piece too. I think one of my favorite things at Journey is we are really, really good at walking with disconnected people, introducing them to Jesus. I mean, how many people have we baptized?
Since we started that Transforming 500 Lives vision in 2021, as of yesterday, we've baptized 105 people. 105
people, yeah. That doesn't happen in other churches, by the way. That's like crazy. And so for me, the discipleship piece is like, okay, they go into the waters, they're baptized, they get out. What psychs me up is like, okay, well, now what? And that's what I want to give my life to. And I think at Journey, we can grow in some of those areas of thinking about internally, externally, of how do we help people view the baptism as the starting line, not the end of their faith journey. And so, again, I can talk for hours about what I'm excited about, what we can get to, and it's going to take a long time, but I'm really excited to get to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've used a phrase that at Journey we want to load both barrels. We want to load the barrel. Maybe it's not a good analogy for today, but I'm on it, so I'll use it. We want to load the barrel of reaching disconnected people and inviting them home, but we also want to load the barrel of inviting them to transform and to grow and to become who Jesus has saved us to be and to live as heaven's citizens today, right? And I feel like that we're moving into a season unlike any other time in our 20 years where we can say absolutely yes to both of those things. Really, really exciting. Brethren, we've been down the road together, man. Maybe you can bring back in the conversation about Brady, and then help us address that, and then anything else that you want to point us to. But let's start there.
A lot of you guys probably don't know. Landon's been here at Journey for 15 years, but we were across the street neighbors 25 years ago. So I knew Landon well before he came here, which means that I knew Brady before Brady even existed. So Brady was a baby. I literally remember one night.
You're going to tell that story?
Quickly. I remember one night I get a knock on the door. Let me just say this first. Landon was a Church of Christ. Don't tell nobody. And of course, I was raised Baptist, and as Landon has said many times, and Landon and I always used to cut up with each other, living across the street from each other, and I felt like he kind of had his nose in the air a little bit high, and all that kind of good fun stuff. One night, I get a knock on my door, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, what in the world? So I get up and I go to the front door, and lo and behold, it's Kristen. And Kristen is holding baby Brady. I mean, like infant Brady. And she has mascara coming down her face. And I was like, what in the world? And my first initial thing, and of course, this is a complete joke, I was like, did he hit you? Totally kidding. But what had happened is we had a storm that night, and their house got hit by lightning, and they had leaks in their roof, and they had no electricity, all that. Kristen's coming over because of the rain. Her mascara was coming down. And she said, can we just hang out here for a little while? Long story short, they ended up staying the night with us that night, and we got their house fixed. And then, lo and behold, my buddy who I'd come to love, who demonstrates just like he demonstrates every day, the love for me and my family, moved off. And I was like, what in the world? Bring this back really quickly. I'd been on staff with Journey, and our lead pastor at the time said, hey, we're going to bring in this new guy to be our community pastor. And I was like, cool. I was looking forward to meeting this guy. Well, lo and behold, Landon shows up again back into my life, and here we are doing ministry together all this time. Good stuff. Lots of fun. Brady Collard, guys, those that don't know him, he's a better version of Dad.
He's not as pretty.
He's much prettier. But such a good guy. Youth ministry is going to do some amazing things. Those that don't know, I was the youth pastor for 12 years. The thing that I felt like I did really good as a youth pastor is I could get kids here. I loved on kids and could get them here. The thing that I had a problem with was I had a full-time job, and I couldn't disciple whatsoever. So I was reaching the disconnected, but not doing a great job at all with discipling those that were believers. And met this guy and hired him as an intern for me over one summer, and got to know Adam. And I was just like, this is the guy that I need right here. In order for our youth ministry to go to the next level, Adam has obviously done that. What his gifting is teaching and discipling. And he has done such a fantastic job. With Brady now into the mix, he's going to have the best of both Adam and I. And the thing that you always wish for is that the ministry goes a next step higher, which it went multiple steps higher when we hired Adam. But now I know that your wish, as well as mine, is that our ministry in students is going to take it to the next level. And there's no doubt that Brady's going to do that. You bet. Yeah. Super excited. Some of you are sitting there right now, and y'all are probably going to be where I'm at. Landon and I have been one of my very best friends in the whole wide world, and I probably knew about this far more than most everybody else, except maybe Kristen. And when he first told me this, I didn't have the vision of what we were going to do with Adam, nor did I have the vision of bringing Brady on. And I looked at Landon, and I was like, are you crazy? What in the world are you thinking? I probably said some other things too that I won't mention up here on stage, but I was like, what in the world?
I got hit in the face with a napkin.
I did. I was like, what are you thinking? I don't want less of you. I want more of you. And I know that some of you are probably sitting there saying the same exact thing. And what I want you guys to realize is that we're not getting less of Landon at all. He's doing all of what he's going to be getting paid a little bit to do already. So we've already got that. The beautiful thing about this is now we get to put this man into a position that God has intended for him to do. And I'm so excited about that. So excited about what Adam's going to bring to us. Yes, absolutely. And then to put the cherry on the icing, which is already on the cake, we get Brady, who was in both of our youth ministries. And he's been doing this since he is like an old man in a young body. He has been serving God and living out the mission for as long as I've known him. And it's just an amazing thing what he's going to be doing. So it's super cool. I want to address one other thing, and then I'll get back to this. Everybody knows that we budget, and we sometimes scrape by on a budget, and sometimes we don't. God's always provided, which is always a cool thing. But what I also want you to know is, like I just mentioned, Landon is actually going to be getting some of his salary from Nexus now, which has freed up some cash so that we can put Adam in his position and bring Brady on as well. So it's not changing our budget very much at all. And I just want to go ahead and bring that up because I know that was a concern for all of us on the board. I know it was a concern for the shepherds as well. And I just want to share with you guys that God has once again just shown how awesome he is by giving us finances to be able to do what his call is doing anyway. So super cool.
I'm going to invite our worship team back up on the stage. We're going to close in worshiping God. As they do, I want to address some specifics about some of that real quick. The role that I'm taking as Associate Director of Nexus over Texas is a quarter-time role. And so that's what's coming off of my salary is a quarter of my salary is being pulled from Journey and covered by Nexus. And that's not covered, but has allowed a little bit of room for us to add a staff member. So it's increased our budget from $46,000 a month to $49,000. And it's summer. Last month, I'll just be honest with you. Last month's tithe was incredibly low, just so you know. But with that, from January through June, we are averaging $49,666. And so we're averaging right at what our new budget is set at. And so I want to encourage you to continue to just be faithful and jump in. One of the other last pieces that I want to point to is I'm not going to be my son's direct report. Darren Hollingsworth, our connections pastor, was a youth pastor for 28 years, I believe. And Darren is going to be Brady's direct report, and then Darren will communicate with me to help some of those relational pieces and let Darren be a tremendous mentor, which I'm really excited about for them. Say it with me. God is good. All the time.